is Chris McCabe. I don't see Chris. Chris McCabe, I only met recently, but he is a bright light in the slate of candidates we will be running in 2020.
Yeah.
Chris is running for state rep of District 38, your very own West End. It is my pleasure to introduce Chris McCabe.
Thank you very much. This person has decades of experience, and I've known her off and on. I met her 3 or 4 years ago, first at a Green Party gathering, and have since come to know her work going all the way back to Vietnam and protesting to bring the troops home. And she's protested just about every good cause since. Very deserving because of her incredible, long-lasting dedication and astute political analysis is Jackie Deveneaux.
Oh, good.
It was funny because Kelly asked yesterday to make a bio of 50 to 90 words. And that was only half of a paragraph up to 90. And I was like, I can't take from 69 to now in just a half of a paragraph. So I started doing this when I was in junior college down in Boston in '69. When we were bringing the troops home, we went on strike, and it was an amazing thing. I was in a junior college that was on Commonwealth Ave, and we marched from our school all the way into Boston, and we picked up BC and BU, and people were hanging out the windows and playing Country Joe and the Fishes, which some of you might not know, but songs. And we get into the common, and they were making peace signs in the sky. And I say to all of you, I wish that I could take you all by the hand and take you back to that time, because that's where it hit. It doesn't seem like it right now, but that's where it's at. That's why I keep fighting. I know we've got a lot up against us, but the community that we're forming in this room right now is the best. So I thank you.
We're here tonight to honor collaboration. It is the only thing that is going to bring us together. Love, compassion, collaboration, kindness, mutual respect, cross-pollination across communities. Because to face the challenges that we have to face, we're going to have to create that utopia. Not if, but how. And the people who are the collaborators are the ones who are going to help us move forward into that future that we want to create for our just society. Luke Sequeira is 16 or 17 now? 16 years old. And an amazing activist. I met Luke when I covered the BIW conversion campaign, where some badass activists in their 70s, for the most part, got arrested in Brunswick, and Luke was at that press conference and rallied our troops. Is one of the most amazing activists I've ever met. Welcome, Luke Sequeira.
oversight. Which will take care of it.
So I'd like to, as we're all gathered here, celebrating each other for this amazing work we're doing in defense of a livable future in our environment. It's really important that we acknowledge that we're gathered here on stolen land, and that the people who inhabit this land, the Wabanaki Confederacy, are still here and they are still fighting, and they have been fighting the same oppressive and exploitative systems, which we are fighting now, for far longer than any mainstream environmental movement has existed. Not out of, it being popular, or I guess not that any of you here are doing it because it's trendy, but it is. But they've been doing it out of necessity, because their very identity is under threat every single day, ever since this country has existed and before. So it's important that moving forward we center them in our work, we uplift their voices, and also that we follow their lead in doing this work. They have been the vanguard of the environmental movement for so long, and it's important that we show up for them. Doing this land acknowledgement is, it's a starting point. It's an opportunity for conversation, but we need to do more. We need to show up more. I've heard so many good land acknowledgements, but at the end of the day, the indigenous community is just as marginalized as they were before. We need to follow this up with substantive action, showing up on the front lines and supporting them. So, I just hope I planted that seed.
Damn right, brother.
Alright, so I'd like to introduce a person who's very special to me in a lot of ways, in a very essential one, in that they gave birth to me.
10 pounds,
She's...
yeah.
Okay, you don't need to expose me like that, I'm kidding. Okay, she's a phenomenal person who I have had the extraordinary opportunity to look up to as a mentor, as a friend, I guess. We're friendly. And as an activist. I've been, my earliest memories are of sitting in on meetings in Washington, D.C. when she was on the board of directors for the U.S. campaign for Burma. She's been an incredibly effective organizer since the early 90s. That's over 20 years. And she's been doing some really amazing work, and, I don't know too many kids who had the opportunity to hang out when they're like 4 or 5 years old with the organizers of the Saffron Revolution in Burma, because she was their spokesperson at international hearings, or or something like that. It was, a big deal.
Of things.
Yeah, a variety of things. In 2012, we co-founded Community Water Justice, which is a frontline network of frontline communities fighting water privatization. And the fight is ongoing, but she has motivated me to be a better activist, and she has been a mentor to so many people in her years of experience and a continued fight for a just and equitable future. So without further ado,
Well, my job is done. I can't really follow an act like that, but I think that was the whole point and what led me to this work. I think working on issues such as water, where, as we look at the water commons, and it's something that's common to each and every one of us. We're all connected through water, and
It's where we gather. It's where we promote and create peaceable solutions to our problems. And, you know, if we can't do that, we know what the ultimate is going to be. So we're in this political moment. And how we treat our water, how we treat each other, how we see each other is everything. So I was grateful. I won't tell you the birth story with Luke, but the journey with him in this too has made it really easy for me to come back around and doing international work and activism back in my own community, because that's where we have our most influential scope of influence exists. And you know, we can't go and change the world if we can't even look in our backyards and build a community. And so this has been a wonderful opportunity to do that and to focus on our future generations through raising a child in all of this, and as a single parent and not being able to necessarily afford childcare. So they make babies small for a reason. You can take them with you. So when all of a sudden I had this baby, and I'm you know, in these board meetings, I'm just like, if you want me to join, then I'm bringing my son with me. So they didn't have an option, and they didn't want me to leave, so that's when it started. And so he mentioned of becoming a better activist, not even, it's like he was born with that identity, which I find interesting. So yeah, I do it for you and everybody in this room, and I look forward to collaborating with you all. You're an amazing group. I love what you're doing here and recognizing everybody. At first, when you sent that email, I was like, oh, I'm so busy. That seems like extra labor. But if we can't labor for each other in these ways and acknowledgement, sincerely, this is really wonderful. Thank you. It is medicine, right?
Our last award of the evening is the Gaslighting Award. The Gaslighting Award is given to somebody who has overcome the propaganda of our broken institutions and who is resilient in their activism and unfettered by the chains that bind others. And here to introduce the Gaslighting Award is Adam Rice. Adam?
So I left the paper at home. Introducing Jess. So I met Jess when she organized the March to End Homelessness. I did not know she was actually homeless when she did that, but that was the case. And I found in the month following that wasn't a one-time thing. Like, she was literally an activist in multiple causes while homeless. And that is why I was adamant that she get an award today, because she refuses to let shortcomings or struggles be a barrier. And that is something that she is showing our community, that you can be marginalized and still be like the leading voice for the people that really need that the most. So like, you are literally lifting up like the people that we all love and care about, and like they wouldn't have our like what we can do moving forward without you. You are so important, and it's an honor to honor you today and to welcome you up here and to hear what you have to say, because I have yet to see anyone like you anywhere. And you're going to wake the whole world up when people finally see you and what you're doing.
Woo! Yeah! Go Jess!
Yeah, give me a second. I gotta make sure I'm not crying. Jesus.
I'm not crying, you're crying.
I don't know what to say after that. I have no idea.
Tell a joke.
I don't think I can come up with one right now. Thank you guys. First off, thank you for the recognition. It's honestly, it's very important to me that I stand up for people without a voice. It's very important that I do this work and I fight for people that can't fight for themselves. A lot of people know some of my backstory here. Pius, I know you do. I grew up in state custody, so I bounced from place to place to place to place to place. And at 18, I ended up in the shelter, and I've been in the shelter for the better half of the past 4 years since then. My whole life, all I have ever done is take care of the people around me, from group homes to residentials to wherever I was, because I've always recognized that what people are going through, the most marginalized communities, is atrocious, and it really affects their whole lives, and they deserve a voice. They deserve power. They deserve to stand up and fight for themselves, and life is way too short for anybody to not have quality of life, to not have community. And I'm very grateful to be standing in the room with people that I consider my family. So I just love all you guys. Thank you so much.
So Kelly announced that this was going to be the last person, and I'm not going to let Kelly off the hook. I have advocated and nominated Kelly multiple times, and she is not getting an award tonight, so I am coming back up here to say that this wouldn't be happening if it wasn't for Kelly. There's a reason why Kelly should be speaking up here after everybody else.
I'm going to jump in on this real quick. Kelly is a powerhouse in our community. This ARTAC thing would not be a thing. We would not all be standing here getting the recognition that I know everybody in this room deserves. Every one of you is doing incredible work in your communities, and Kelly is magnificent at forming cohesion and forming community within our activism groups, and I am so grateful to have Kelly as one of my best friends ever. I also tried to nominate Kelly, and Kelly was like, no, that's not going to be a thing. It's not allowed. And I'm like, well, I'm just going to hijack ARTAC. So thank you, Adam, because Kelly told me I couldn't do it. Kelly told me, I will be so mad at you if you hijack ARTAC and give me the recognition I deserve. And I was like, wow, I'm a horrible human.
We all color outside the lines.
You're no one.
Okay, so before we go on to whatever next part this is, I want everybody to stand up, please. Everybody stand up. Yeah. Everybody stand up, and I want all of you guys to clap for yourselves, because everybody in this room is amazing, and everybody in this room deserves the recognition, okay? So thank you to all of you for all the work that you're doing, and I am so excited for ARTAC 2020.
Yeah! And maybe a cheetah won't be president anymore by then.
I think that's it.
About the 180 sign-up sheet over here.
Oh, there's a 180 sign-up sheet for the 180 Collaborative. The 180 Collaborative is creating databases and collective calendars so we can leverage our collective power and be highly strategic in the way we approach all of the issues that we care about. LGBTQIA+ rights, harm reduction, climate, clean elections, water rights, tenants, all of it. This will allow us to give these issues the attention and the strategic attention that they deserve, and to lift everybody up in that process is integral to what we do and to building a society that everyone can get on board with. Thank you so much for coming tonight, and I appreciate everybody here. Special thanks to Chris McCabe, Justin Beth, Jess Valero, Angel Melvin, everybody else who